All right, everyone, get ready for another deep dive. Today, we're going on a journey that, well, it might seem small at first, but trust me, it gets pretty epic.
Oh, I like where this is going. Small but mighty, right?
Exactly. We're diving into the world of caterpillars, but we're going way beyond, the basics. This is about uncovering the hidden world of these incredible creatures.
Yeah, I think a lot of people underestimate caterpillars. They just see them munching on leaves.
Yeah, just kind of inching along.
But there's so much more to their story.
It's a story of survival, adaptation, and let's be honest, some pretty mind-blowing transformations.
From the moment they hatch, they're up against some serious challenges. I mean, they're basically at the bottom of the food chain.
And talk about starting life on a unique note. Their first meal is actually their own eggshell.
Right, it's brilliant. Talk about maximizing resources. That eggshell is packed with nutrients, giving them that initial boost they need to, well, get eating.
Because that's pretty much their main mission in life, right? Eat, grow, repeat.
Exactly. And all that eating leads to some pretty dramatic growth spurts, which means they have to shed their skin multiple times to keep up. We call this molting.
It's kind of like us outgrowing our clothes, but way more intense.
Yeah, imagine having to shed your skin every time you needed a bigger shirt.
The dry cleaners would be in business for sure.
Hmm.
But speaking of clothes, some caterpillars have some pretty incredible outfits, right?
Oh, absolutely. Some have evolved camouflage that makes them practically invisible. They can blend in with twigs, leaves, even bird droppings.
Wow, so they're masters of disguise.
And then you've got others who go the opposite route, sporting bright, flashy colors to warn predators that they're toxic. It's like saying, hey, I might look tasty, but you'll regret taking a bite.
It's a bold strategy, but hey, if it works, it works.
And then there are those who rely on chemical defenses. Some release irritating hairs or chemicals when they're threatened.
That'll definitely teach a predator a lesson.
And don't forget the power of teamwork. Some species travel in groups, forming a confusing swarm that overwhelms predators. Safety in numbers, right?
I never realized caterpillars were such strategists.
Hmm.
It's like a tiny insect army out there using all these incredible tactics to survive.
It's pretty remarkable, isn't it? But sadly, not every caterpillar makes it to adulthood. It's a tough world out there.
That's right, not everyone gets to experience the grand finale.
Exactly. And that's what we're going to dive into next. The incredible transformation that awaits those lucky enough to survive the caterpillar stage.
The metamorphosis. I can't wait to hear all about it. But first, we're going to take a quick break.
Welcome back.
Now, before we get to that epic transformation, something's been bugging me. We've talked about all the dangers caterpillars face.
Oh yeah, predators, parasites, the works.
Exactly. So how do they manage to, not go extinct?
Well, it's a balance, right? They're a vital food source for lots of animals, which kind of keeps their numbers in check. But on the flip side, they're incredibly prolific. Many species lay hundreds, even thousands of eggs.
So it's like a numbers game. Not all of them will make it, but enough do to keep the species going.
Right, it's a fascinating adaptation to their, well, kind of risky lifestyle. And let's not forget, caterpillars aren't just, helpless snacks. They're important for the ecosystem too.
Yeah, we talked about moths and pollination.
Exactly. But there's more. They're actually considered ecosystem engineers.
Ecosystem engineers. That sounds pretty impressive for, well, a creature that basically just eats leaves all day.
Well, their eating habits and even their poop play a crucial role in nutrient cycling and plant diversity.
Okay, I have to admit, I didn't expect caterpillar poop to be part of this conversation, but I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
So their droppings, we call it frass, act as a natural fertilizer. It enriches the soil and creates favorable conditions for plant growth.
So they're kind of like little gardeners, fertilizing as they go. But how does that tie into plant diversity?
Well, by munching on those leaves, caterpillars create openings in the canopy, letting sunlight reach the forest floor. And that encourages the growth of a wider variety of plants, which then supports, well, a wider range of animal life.
It's like a chain reaction. These seemingly small actions have ripple effects throughout the entire ecosystem. It really shows you how connected everything is.
It really does. But unfortunately, this balance is being disrupted by, you guessed it, human activity.
Oh, I was wondering when that was going to come up.
It's unavoidable, right? Habitat loss is a big one. As forests are cleared for agriculture and development, caterpillars lose their food sources and their homes.
So basically, their world is shrinking, and it's getting harder for them to survive.
Exactly. And then there's pesticide use. While pesticides are meant to target crop pests, they often harm beneficial insects like caterpillars too.
It's kind of ironic, isn't it? We're trying to protect our crops, but we might be harming the very creatures that help keep the ecosystem healthy.
It's a complex issue. And then, of course, there's climate change. Changes in temperature and rainfall patterns can really mess with the timing of caterpillar development, affecting their ability to find food and complete their life cycle.
It's like a domino effect. Yeah, it's pretty disheartening, but is there any hope? Can we do anything to help?
Absolutely. There are things we can all do. One simple step is to plant native plants in your garden. This provides caterpillars with food and shelter.
So creating caterpillar-friendly spaces right in our own backyards.
Exactly. And avoid using pesticides in your yard. There are plenty of natural pest control methods that won't harm beneficial insects.
Got it. Ditch the chemicals and let nature do its thing. What else can we do?
Supporting organizations that are working to conserve insect habitats is huge. And spreading awareness. Even just talking about the importance of caterpillars can make a difference.
So raising awareness, planting native plants, and ditching those pesticides. I like it. Now, I know you're dying to talk about that metamorphosis.
Oh yeah, the main event.
We've covered their struggles, their importance. But now I need the juicy details of this incredible transformation.
Okay, so picture this. The caterpillar, it's reached its full size, it's eaten its fill, and it finds a safe, secluded spot.
Time for the big change.
Exactly. It might attach itself to a leaf, a branch, maybe even burrow underground. Then, depending on the species, it forms a chrysalis or spins a cocoon around itself.
So they're basically sealing themselves off from the world, preparing for something amazing.
Exactly. And inside this protective shell, the real magic happens. The caterpillar's body undergoes a complete breakdown.
A complete breakdown? What does that even mean?
It's almost like hitting a reset button. The caterpillar's body actually dissolves into, well, we call it a biological soup.
Hold on, they liquefy themselves. That's both fascinating and kind of creepy.
It's radical, but from this soup, a completely new creature emerges. Specialized cells, called imaginal cells, start to multiply and differentiate. They form the wings, legs, antenna, basically all the parts of the adult butterfly or moth.
It's like a biological construction crew working from a blueprint, building a whole new being. It's mind-blowing. So what triggers this transformation?
It's a complex interplay of hormones and genetic cues. When the caterpillar is ready to pupate, a hormone called ecdysone triggers the shedding of its final larval skin and the formation of the chrysalis or cocoon.
Okay, so that's ecdysone. What happens next?
Well, then another hormone, juvenile hormone, decreases, and that allows those imaginal cells to take over and orchestrate the development of the adult form.
Wow, nature really has this whole process fine-tuned, doesn't it? It's incredible. Welcome back to the show. I'm still kind of stuck on that whole biological soup thing.
Yeah, it's a pretty wild image, isn't it?
It really makes you appreciate the whole metamorphosis thing, though.
Absolutely. It's not just a biological process. It's like, well, it makes you think, doesn't it?
It does. You mentioned earlier that there are lessons we can learn from the caterpillar's journey.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Think about it. The caterpillar starts out so small, almost insignificant, but it has the potential for something, well, extraordinary.
Right. But it needs the right environment to transform.
Yeah.
And it has to go through a pretty radical process to get there.
Exactly. Remember, it literally dissolves itself. That takes a lot of, well, trust, I guess you could say. Trust in the process.
It does. And it reminds me that sometimes growth requires us to let go of, the familiar, the things that aren't working for us anymore, to embrace the unknown.
That's a great point. And don't forget the resilience. Caterpillars face so many challenges. Predators, parasites, even the weather. But they keep going.
Like a little symbol of perseverance.
Exactly. And then finally, after all that, they emerge as this beautiful butterfly or moth, ready to take flight.
It's like a reward for all that hard work, a celebration of transformation.
Maybe there's a lesson there for us, too. To embrace the joy that comes with growth and change, to allow ourselves to, see the world with fresh eyes.
I love that. It's so easy to forget that even the smallest creatures can teach us so much about life, about resilience, about the power of transformation.
Nature is full of wisdom if we take the time to, well, really see it.
Well, listeners, we've reached the end of our caterpillar deep dive.
It's been a journey.
It has. I hope you've all gained a newfound appreciation for these amazing creatures and the lessons they teach us.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and maybe take a moment to appreciate the caterpillars in your own backyard.